Hi, Anne. Alan tells me that you are kind of interested in some of the Toscanini stories that I blurted out at a recent party, and asked me if I had anything else to tell. It occurred to me that I might just tell you about how I met him in the first place, because I was on the very beginning of the NBC Opera Theater, which started in about 47 or 48 with some test operas, and one of the people who was most interested in it was Toscanini himself. He couldn't imagine how this could be put on live with some kind of a camera that sent a picture to people's houses. He just couldn't quite grasp all that. So he showed up at the studio, and he watched the rehearsal, fascinated by everything. And of course the rehearsal, which included the likes of George London and Mario Lanza, who were at the very beginnings of their career, completely unknown, was for the last act of La Bohème, which we were going to try to feed live to the New York City area. And of course I was at the piano. I was 22 maybe, at the most. And after that I sort of worshipped from afar and never said anything or anything, and just forgot about it. A couple of weeks later I got a phone call. This is the maestro's son, Walter. Yes, Mr. Toscanini. I said, you know, Papa is going to be doing Falstaff on the radio with the NBC Symphony. I said, yes, I know. And he said, in the last act, the tenor that he himself has chosen, he doesn't always have the best taste in choosing singers. The tenor wasn't learning the part well enough of Fenton. So he said, Papa said he would like the young Grossman to coach him. I said, but I've never really met him. He said, no, but he met you at that rehearsal, watching you perform, and that's what he wants, and what he wants to get. So I said, okay, send him down. So down came Miss Fenton, a lovely voice, and absolute ignorante. Translate that, it's ignorant. He was so tough, he couldn't remember anything and so on, but I drummed it into him, and finally I called Walter and said, I think I'm finished with it. He said, okay, so where should I send him? He said, well, I'll call you back. So he called me back and he said, all right, we have reserved the main hall, 8H, at the RCA Studios, this big concert hall, and you're to have him come up. I said, fine, I'll send him up. He said, no, you accompany him, please, bring him with you. I said, why do I have to bring you with? He said, just do it. So I said, okay, so I came up, I thought, you know, I'm to introduce him to all the thousands of people who are going to be there and so forth. I came up, the auditorium was absolutely empty, until I suddenly saw, peering out from the third row, and you remember Toscanini was not terribly tall, and so you could barely see him until you suddenly saw something moving. And there he was all by himself, and I was motioned to go to the piano and accompany this tenor. So I went to the piano, and I have 5 fingers on each hand, but as far as I was concerned, they were one single lump. They froze, and I didn't know if I could even play. Finally, I managed to do this, and at the end I waited for the curses to be heaped down on me for all the wrong notes that I thought I must have played. But nothing happened, and the guy got the part and made history. And that is how I met Toscanini at the age of 22.